Well, welcome back folks, welcome to another Awful Angling episode. Something a little bit different for you today. It's the middle of March, the weather's starting to pick up, believe it or not. There are blue skies dotted about all around me. It's fairly calm, it's fairly still. Kids holidays coming up, obviously we've got Easter, summer holidays coming up after that, and a few of you I'm sure are wondering, how do I get into fishing? So thought I'd run you through very simple setup. As you'll see behind me, I've got all the gear in the van for a big session later on, going after the rays, but I just want to prove, or hopefully prove, that fishing isn't all about big expensive setups. You don't have to have 15-foot, 1,000-pound rods to get into the fish. So today I'm going to talk you through a very simple, very cheap setup that you can use on docks, harbours, rock marks, and you know, introduce kids to sea fishing and fishing in general, and hopefully we'll get some fish and some different species on the channel. Now the first thing to take note of is safety, obviously. I would love to encourage a load of people to get out there and try fishing for the first time. However, water, the sea, Mother Nature is a cruel beast, and as far as I'm concerned, water is the most powerful element on earth. It can go from flat calm to complete chaos in a matter of minutes. So wherever you decide to go fishing, please pay attention to the weather, be careful, be mindful of what the sea is doing. You'll see today I'm fishing a dock, so it is landlocked, salt water, so I'm at no risk of big waves catching me out here today. However, the edges can be slippy, rock marks will be slippy. It takes very little for you to slip, fall and end up in the water. All around where I am today there are buoyancy rings, life aids, there are workmen dotted all about. It's a fairly busy mark. However, I could fall in this water. I'm a fairly competent swimmer. I can quite easily fall in this water, go into cold water shock, and I'll be under the water within seconds. So please be careful, safety is paramount. I want you to have fun, but it's no fun if you end up in that water. It is literally life and death. So please be careful, have fun, enjoy yourself, but again, I can't say it enough, please be careful. Anyway, let's talk you through the setup. So I'm going to build a couple of rigs. I haven't got anything with me small enough really for the fishing here today. So what I'm going to do, I've got some very simple bits and pieces. I have got essentially a little box full of swivels that I picked up off Amazon some time ago, as you can probably tell from the state of the box. It's been rattling around in my rig making bits for no idea how long. Then what we've got is I've got some Innova Camasauri size 6 hooks. These are quite small, let me just put them against my finger. So again, like I say, I am going to be fishing with small hooks, small baits, and then I'm going to try just some attractor beads. I don't use these on my normal setup, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to build and show you how to build a 2-hook flapper rig, and I'm going to fish one with attractor beads and one without. Let's see what happens, see if it makes any difference. As a rule, when you're building rigs, if you fancy building rigs yourself, you want 10-pound line per ounce of lead plus 10 pounds. So if you're building a Pennell rig and you're going to be casting 6 ounce, you want 60 pounds plus 10 pounds. So you want to be building the rig body no less than 70-pound line. I'm going to be fishing with 1 ounce leads. I may even switch to a float in a little bit just for a bit of sport. So 20-pound line is perfect for this. What I'm going to do is grab a swivel to start off with. Now, like I say, I am fishing small light gear, so these are going to be small swivels, and I'll try my best to show this on the GoPro. What I might end up doing is doing a separate recording and putting it over this, but typically when attaching stuff I always use a uni knot. So you've got your main line, you pass it through the swivel like so, pull 2 ends tight, pull your tag end back and create this loop. This is hard to do with 2 hands, I'm trying to show it to camera. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to create a little loop, and then you're going to wrap your tag end around both of the straight bits you just took. I normally go 6 times, but with this being such light stuff, you could probably get away with 4, 3, just pull a little bit more tag out, 4, 5, and one more, 6. So just pull that up so I don't lose the tag. So what you end up with, look, is you've got your swivel, you've got your loop that I've then gone round 6 times, and as I start to pull that tight, you'll see it start to kink up. I've got a feeling that this is going to be focused on me and not the knot. So spit on your line, lubricate the line, suck a little bit of that off. Hopefully on there you'll be able to see how nice and neat that has pulled down, and then all you're going to do is pull that through, pull it up nice and tight, and there you have. Again, let me try my best to show a lovely neat knot onto your swivel, and that is the start of your rig. So I'll trim all these tag ends in a minute once we're done. Tag ends always go in the bin, you don't chuck them on the floor. We don't want microplastics. I'm going to want this rig to be probably about 4 foot. I'm 6 foot, so I know my wingspan's about 6 foot, so somewhere around there. And again, I've got my proper scissors somewhere rather than using my horrible side cutters. Alright, and that's it. So then, now you've got your main body of your rig. Again, you probably can't see that, you're probably just looking at my face. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to grab a couple of random small beads. Now you can do this with crimps. I've had a look in my bag and I haven't actually got any crimps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of these little beads. I'm going to slide a bead on to my rig body. Slide it down. Now, like I say, this is just a general 2-hook flapper rig. I'm not targeting anything big. What I'd normally do is I'd have a crimp this side of it, and I'd crimp it where I want it. But because I haven't got any crimps, I'm going to go roughly about 3 inches or so away from the top swivel, and I'm just going to loop the line back through that bead like so, and that just forms a nice little loop. Again, probably not going to be able to see that on there. Forms a little loop around the bead, and that'll keep that bead in place. I'm going to grab another swivel, I'm going to chuck the swivel on, let it slide down, another bead on. I don't recommend looping your line through the bead if you're going for a big heavy duty rig. It significantly weakens the line, and you will snap off if you're trying to cast or anything like that. But like I say, for the purposes of today's video, it should be fine. And there you have it. That is the top of what's going to be your hook snood. So I'm going to do this 2 more times, or 1 more time for 2 hook lengths, and I shall bring you back. Right, there we go. So I've got 2 swivels attached. All I'm going to do now is just attach one of these little finesse clips to the bottom of this rig. Like I say, I'm using small weights, so these will be fine. You can use regular rapid links like so. You can use weight links. I've got some of those somewhere as well. I'm going to mess about finding those for you. But yeah, so just something to clip your weight to. Grab one of these out of here. Right, there we have it then. So we've got that swivel that we tied on, that first swivel with 2 beads, second swivel 2 beads. On the bottom I just tied on one of the Innova finesse clips, and I've just put on a 20 gram weight. So that is going to be the main body of our rig. Now for the snoods, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this same 20 pound line, and all I want is roughly around about 1 foot of line per snood, like so. And then I'm going to take my size 6 Camisori hook, and then using that uni knot again. Now it's always good just to leave a little bit of a tag end on the hook. Hopefully you can see that. I've left that on there, just this little tag end. If you do decide to put a slightly bigger bait on, that tag end will stop things like worms sliding back down the hook. That's just a little tip for you. So there we have it. So that is your first snood, and you probably can't see a single bit of that. because of our GoPro's focus, but two beads and a swivel on tiny little size 6 hook. I'm just going to do the second one and then we'll get it on the rod, get it baited up. Okay, so as for the rod setup, again, doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be fancy. This is my Sonic Dominator X 15 to 40 gram lure rod. I think it cost me about 40 quid. It's a little travel rod. I've got a Shimano Sienna reel 4000 size. That cost me 15 quid from Decathlon. I've got 12-pound braid on there. You'll see, hopefully, in a minute. It's nice and light. And then the rig, you can see we've just got those beads, swivel, running down. The hook length, there we've got a little size 6 hook. For bait, I'm using whiting. Just little strips of whiting I caught the other week. You can use prawns, you can use mackerel, you can use squid, you can use seafood selection boxes from your local supermarket, whatever you can get your hands on. You can even use little bits of worm if you can get that from your local tackle shop. And then the bottom hook, you can see with those 2 attractor beads, and again just a small piece of whiting with those little size 6 hooks. Right, let's go and chuck it in the water and see what we can find. Well, that whiting's been coming back untouched for about 20 minutes or so now. So what I've done is I've just swapped out to a tiny little bit of frozen black lug. I'm going to chuck this out there. We'll probably have 20 more minutes on here and then we'll move around a little bit. Hey! And there we go, first fish. Proved worthwhile switching over to the worm baits. As you can see, that little size 6 Camasauri hook, nicely lip hooked there. Should be a nice easy unhooking, just like that. It's out. One little whiting, we're off the mark. No monster by any means, but hopefully you saw in the GoPro, good sport on this little light setup. Well, I was just about to call it quits here, but that whiting spurred me on a little bit. I think we'll have one more cast and then we are going to move down to the other end of the dock. Right, we've had no Wirral Droy. Well, we've had that one whiting, so what we're going to do is head down to the other end of the dock, go get set up down there, have half an hour down there, see if we can't get a few more species knocked off. Just like that, we've moved. We've actually come the other side of the road that I showed you in the previous clip. Hopefully you can just see behind me. We've got the lock gates down there. Already considerably deeper here. Considerably deeper. Hopefully, because we are so close to the lock gates, the saltwater content will be a lot higher. I can't see on maps any rivers or anything like that running into here. I assume it is entirely saltwater. However, we have had a lot of rain this last week, so the closer you can get to the source, the better. So no fish frenzy by any stretch, but a really good way and simple, cheap, cost-effective way of spending an hour, 2 hours just by the water. Where there's water, there will be fish. Obviously, we've had that little whiting. Dependent on where you are, I mean, it's the beginning of March at the minute. I'm in Liverpool, I'm on a dock. If you're down on a harbour wall in the middle of June in Cornwall, There are no end of species of fish that you can catch using very simple techniques just like this. It's certainly a method, with me being in the species hunt this year, certainly a method you're going to see a lot more on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I hope you found it informative. I am going to put more rig tutorials on, so if you want to know about bigger, heavier setups, there'll be more of that on the channel. So please subscribe if you want to see those. If you've got any comments, as always, or tips, hints, any changes that you'd make to a setup similar to this, drop them in the comments below. And for now, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and tight lines.